Here's the other side. Video I did a little bit ago. Same thing, we're going to clean up any of the excess transfer or anything else that's on there. Anytime I'm doing any kind of texture repair, I'm always trying to get the surface as clean and as flat as I possibly can. See, this one has actually kind of gotten a little messed up, so we're going to have to play with this one a little bit. So I cleaned it with thinner first. And what I have here is I have a plastic. A lot of times the window guys will use this for playing with the window urethane and stuff. Alright, paddle it. I use this because it's a harder plastic, but it's still soft. I believe it's Delron. So it's a harder plastic and I can move stuff around, but it's still soft. First thing we'll do is we'll smoke that a little bit. And I'm going to come through with this. And I'm going to try to just work down any rugged edges that are there. I know it's a textured surface, but it's a lot easier to recreate texture than it is to fill in any kind of rippling from gouging or anything else like that. So this, I'm just trying to smooth out the plastic. Essentially we have a harder plastic, the Delron, over polypropylene, I believe, is the type of plastic that's probably our base material. It's working a lot like polypropylene. That harder plastic is going to work down any rough edges that are there, smooth it out. Doesn't always work in this case. Looks like we'll end up having to take some sandpaper, maybe sand that out a little bit. I'm going to keep playing with this a little bit longer, see if I can get it without. And really, the texture, we just want to get a flat surface. We can recreate texture with a flat surface. See just a little bit of working, a little bit of playing already right there. We've already hit a majority of that damage that was there. Now I've got some flat black spray here. Stuff works really good. Now the trick to this is not spraying it perfectly. We're going to spray it imperfectly, consistently. Alright? So what I mean by that is perfect spray would be like real close, consistent across here, right, back and forth, that would be our normal coat. We don't want that. We want the paint, as it sprays out, we want it to atomize, so we want it to mist out, right, spread out farther, right, and the more longer it takes to actually atomization takes to reach the surface, the more it turns into like a dust. And so essentially what it does is it starts creating this little kind of beady texture that you see on these surfaces, right? And that's what will allow us to essentially blend into the surface. So that's what we're going to do here. So instead of here, I'm going to come back here outside of the reach of your view, and I'm going to fog on some coats. In between a couple coats, torch it. What it does is it sucks the paint down into the plastic. Doesn't really kind of flatten out. And this process you just have to really kind of take your time at. What I've realized in the past is that I used to get the texture spray. I used to swear by that back in the day. Right? And I would spray things with this texture spray, and then, you know, give it a couple of weeks, couple of months or whatever, and the parts would end up coming back to me. Things didn't really stay too well because a lot of times you put some sort of silicone on these types of plastics, and that silicone would lift up the texture material that we sprayed on. In essence, making it a barrier that was trapping in all that nasty stuff. Right? And it didn't take long. Things started lifting. Things started coming back. And so I realized that putting a coating over top of what's supposed to be raw texture isn't always the best bet. And so after a lot of playing around with misting and fogging on here and taking experience I've had in my life, I realized that when I'm doing the atomizing, I'm essentially just fogging on a coating, partial coating onto the surface, which is essentially almost a breathable coating because we're not really creating a barrier anywhere. It's just almost like kind of throwing sandpaper over and over and over and over and over again on itself, right? It'll build up, right? But it's not really gonna create like a barrier there. It's still breathe. And I haven't had any problems since I started doing that. I haven't had any comebacks. Really, really lucky. It's always a possibility. Hope I can get that lucky in life and stay that lucky in life. More than likely, it's not luck. More than likely, it's that I found the reason. Found the solution. Now it's not a problem. Not to mention blending in smaller areas as opposed to coating the whole thing. You have to do the whole surface. With me, I can just do small areas and it's not going to be a particular problem. And you know, the material that you're working with can really do anything. So this one, all I did really was just clean it up. He told me it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't like just giving out subpar stuff, so we're gonna keep working with it a little bit. So I'm gonna miss this one a few times here. I'm gonna see if we can't blend in. I don't know if you can see it or not, but we're just essentially fogging in the surface. Essentially fogging in the surface. Just kind of sit on there. It's not really pretty much of a barrier. All those little specks that keep building up on there too, they'll start to create a rough texture surface. Mind you, many of you probably have your own way of doing all of this. I'm sure I've seen a lot of people do it over the years. I'm not saying there's a right and wrong way to this one. I've seen some people really figure it out, and I've seen some people kind of figure it out, and I've seen some people put their hands up in the air and walk away from it. Disgust. So, the very fact that we're trying to make it better, not just throw parts away, that's what it's all about. And thanks for watching.